Guys, give me a minute. I'm trying to figure out how I've got to remember how to do this because I'm trying to get back to you all. So give me just a minute. Okay, I don't know what it just did.
I got a feeling that you got me covered too. I got you covered. I got you covered.
All right, I quite don't understand what it just did. So if I'm a little baffled, I hit something and I have to figure out how to get rid of it because I don't like it like this. It did something. I don't know what, but I'm not going to fool around with it because I don't want to mess it up, but I don't know quite what I just did. Oh boy. Oh goodness gracious. So welcome on in, everybody. Welcome on in. Hold on a second. I decided to do this topic tonight because I really wanted to have a frank conversation, right? And I thought this would be a really good way to kind of start this off. This is kind of a new journey for me. It is absolutely 100%. And just let me know in the chat if y'all can hear me. And I'm coming. Hi, Tuber Chat. That you all can hear me clearly. Just put a 1 in the chat if you can. I had to work around with my mic the other day and want to make sure that you all can, the sound is coming through. Okay, good. Thank you. So I thought this was a really, really good topic. First of all, I want everybody to understand, I am starting this whole thing and this journey in my life, this new journey, literally it's new. Everything is brand new. Understanding what to do, understanding what not to do. You know what I mean? It's all brand new to me. And I don't know how many other people kind of are maybe going through a little bit of the same thing I'm going through a little bit, right? They're starting this whole new journey of, I don't like looking at myself twice, but I guess there's really nothing I can do with it till till I get off of here and figure out what I did. Anyway, I don't think I'm the only one that may be going down this journey a little bit and trying to figure out a little bit of how to navigate this. When my mom became a grandma and my dad, there was no other side of the grandpa and grandma scale, right? There was only just myself and my parents. Because of my situation that I was in, I didn't have to really worry about the other side. I did allow them to stay in the, and be connected with my daughter, but I didn't really have to worry about that. And I don't mean that in sense of worrying, but that's the wrong word. Navigating. And I am so thrilled for the other set of grandparents, and I'm so thrilled for them because this will be the first grandbaby that's kind of close for them to enjoy, and I'm so thankful that this child is going to get both sets of grandparents. They're going to get what Christina didn't have and what I didn't kind of have. None of my grandparents were really together. So I'm very, very thankful for that and for this little being, as we're calling it. But this is something new for sure to navigate and understand. One thing that I have said to my daughter throughout this, and one thing she said at times, she goes, Mom, I know you're excited, but she said, you're overwhelming me. And my response to her almost every time was, I don't know if I'm overwhelming you. You have to tell me that I'm overwhelming you, and it's not my intention to do that. I'm not a mind reader. So if I'm doing something that's overwhelming you because, she's all her hormones are even amplified even more, you've got to tell me. So I think one of the first things you have to have is open communication. And if she's gotten irritated or she's gotten a little bit upset or a little snippy, I have just let it go whoosh right over this head, right over this Yaya's head. Because I know all of the things and all of the changes that are going on in her body right now are all new to her. This isn't the second or third baby. This is the first one. So all of these changes are going on. So I for sure have had to say, let me know, and I'll back off. For instance, I messaged her and I said, oh, there's a free diaper changing table in your area. And she goes, Mom, I'm not even ready for that. Please, I don't need that right now. I won't think about that, any kind of furniture until next year. I can't deal with that. Perfectly fine. I won't send you any more if I find any. I will say a little caveat to that is if you are in today's world, hi Brooke, in today's world, unfortunately we can't always trust, and that's sad. In this area, and I think where they live, I think that pretty much it would be, pretty good. But if you are someone that is carrying a little one, please, if you see anything that, they're offering something, and this person I'm not saying that nothing was going to happen, but they were trying to sell it. I guess baby changing tables are things that people say don't even bother getting because they don't really get used all that much. So they were, selling it for very, very reasonable. And then they just finally said, we'll just give it to somebody that can use it. But please do yourself a favor. Go with a friend. Go with your partner. Go with your husband. Have maybe other people go and pick it up, whether it's they're giving, baby clothes away to help another mother out or furniture or whatever, just to make sure that you're protected, because there are stories out there that pregnant women go to by themselves to, somebody's home to pick up, free stuff or whatever, and things that I won't bring in and just are too terrible to even think of happen. And it's one thing that I've actually said to my daughter. I've said, if you want to go get something and pick something up, from something you see on Facebook or something, please make sure your husband goes with you. Your dad and I will go pick it up, but please do not go by yourself. So I would urge that to anybody. I don't care whether you're pregnant or not, but especially if you are pregnant, please make sure that, go with somebody. In today's world, you just can't trust, unfortunately enough. And so I've going to be saying that. And, kind of one of the commandments in here is don't give solicited advice. Well, I'm going to give her this advice and say to her, please call us. Mom, can you go pick this up? And your dad and I will go. Or please go with your husband. Do not go by yourself. And so that's just something to keep aware. That's something too, if you're a grandparent, offer that to your child. I know she's still going to be my baby girl. I don't care how old she gets. Offer that to your child or so forth. We'll go pick it up. Or for your friend, and they're going to pick up some things. Let them know, listen, call me up. If they're a single mom, I'll go with you just to make sure that you're kept safe. So just something to think about in our world today. It's sad we have to think of that, but we do have to think, and it's just kind of a personal safety announcement kind of thing. But it is something that I'm bringing to her attention. So I think the first thing is you have to go into this realizing you're not the parent. You've already done that. And that's one thing I've said this entire time from the time we found out up to now, and I will continue to saying to them, this isn't my rodeo. I've already raised you. This is your child. How you want to go forward, what you want me to be able to do, what you want me to be able to say, whether this or that, this is yours. I don't get to make those kind of choices. I have to respect, and whether I agree with them, and I'm neutral on all of it pretty much, whether I agree with it or not, I have to and need to, okay, respect the boundaries that you and your husband have set forth. This is your rodeo, okay? Not mine. And that has been clear from day one. I have wanted to honor their wishes and how they wanted to navigate this and so forth and so on. So I think that that's important. I think open communication, if you're the mother of the daughter and this is your first time and you kind of don't know how to go forward or so forth, guess what? Tell them, like I did my daughter. I don't know if you're overwhelmed, and if this is overwhelming you, you have to tell me. I'm not a mind reader. And she really appreciated that. She says, thanks, Mom. I was afraid you'd be upset. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to be. I'd rather you tell me, hey, I can't handle this right now, than you not tell me. And so let me know, and I'll back off. One of the things that I was like she was on the phone tonight or earlier today. And I said to Mom, is everything okay? And she called back and she goes, I'm not fragile. I'm not broken, made of glass. I'm okay. Why does everybody have to ask me if I'm okay? Is everything all right? And I said, I just was wondering what was going on. And it was just all about, the doctor's appointment tomorrow and so forth. But anyway, you got to let some of that stuff just kind of whoosh over the head, because especially mothers that have never had babies before, her body, all of her emotions and everything are all new. And my pregnancy with her is different than what she's experiencing. So I didn't have some of the same symptoms she's having. She's not having, thank goodness, some of the symptoms I had. So I think you have to walk this in a way very carefully going into this. And I have said to her very clearly, I understand this is new for you. This is new for me. I've never been a yaya before. And as someone dealing or raising a special needs child, there was times I didn't even think this was going to be a possibility. So this is just a little bit more sweet to me in a way, an answer certainly to prayer and God's blessing in our lives. And so, just something to keep in mind as you're going forward and having open communication with them. So let's go through the first thing. And before I forget, I have started again with the adding things to the registry. I just haven't put it up yet. I'm trying to do gender neutral items in there. One of the things that I know is not fancy, so forth, is they do have a diaper fund through Amazon. So I can tell you that is something that if anybody donates from this channel or feels led to and wants to, I know diapers are not, something that's, beautiful to get, but I can tell you that for them, it will be very much needed to be able to reach into that and send them diapers and help them out that way. So if it is something that you feel led to do and there's not putting stuff on there, trying to find gender neutral things. But yeah, I created it for adding some things, but also to help them out with the diapers. That would help them out tremendously. So that is something that this community can certainly help them out. And Amazon has that where you can contribute to the diaper fund. So please know that we'll add things, but that is something that will certainly be needed, and they will certainly appreciate that tremendously. I can tell you that. So the first commandment, and I really like this. Some of it's from a Christian perspective, some of it's not. And so take what you need out of this for yourself. Excuse me. I put the article in the description below. I apologize. The first commandment is grandparent commandment number 1. Okay. Yes, aren't fun, but oh, are they going to be necessary? Thou shalt accept the fact that this is their life and their family. You have to sit back and go, I've done my job of raising my child. The enjoyment now is watching my daughter raise her child. Okay? So even though this is your precious grandbaby, and little Bean is my precious grandbaby, and again, we don't know what the gender is, and I don't know if I'll be able to release that information. We have to remember that it is not our child, it's their child. And we have to kind of sit back. Okay? Your child or your children are already grown and ready to start their own family. It is your chance to be proud of the way that you raise them. I like the way that is said. Remember that there is a chance to be, remember it is their chance to be parents and do things their way. Think back when you were a kid. Weren't there things that your parents did that you said you would never do? Yeah, me too. So I love that sit there and said, this is a chance for you to be proud of the way that you raise them. I love that. That's a great way and a great perspective of how to look at it. Right? And 9 out of 10 times they will do exactly what they said they wouldn't anyway. I remember telling my kids, my mom, I would never yell at my kids. Oh my, every once in a while I'd lose it. and let my kids hear me loud and clear. Just remember to shut the windows so the neighbors won't hear it. You know what I mean? So I love that perspective. And I want to say something, and I read the comments in this article, and one person says, I've already broken every one of these commandments. And I thought, you know what? I'm probably going to. I'm not going to hold them perfectly, but I think you have to have some kind of guideline for yourself, right? They can set a guideline for you and the grandparents and the way they want to have that. Their way isn't our way, like my way was way different than my dad's way. Absolutely. And so I think if we remember that these become a guideline for yourself, you need to set up some guidelines. What am I going to do? What am I not going to do? What am I going to try not to do? Realizing you're not going to do it perfectly. Nobody does. So the commandment 2 is, thou shalt accept the supportive role as a grandparent. I love that when I read that. I thought, we are here to support them. Similar to the first commandment, you have to not only accept that this is your children's life, but accept your new role in life. There are a few levels of role as well. Let me explain. If you are a grandparent on the maternal side of things, then you have more prominent positions. Mothers tend to gravitate more towards their own parents first. since they usually are the primary caregivers, you're going to be much more in the know about your grandkids. I do recognize that the role primary caregiver is changing these days, but for now, I believe that it still holds true. However, if you're the paternal grandparent, you may end up feeling a bit left out now and again. And I think that that can be true in some cases. I know that my son-in-law is very close to his parents, and I'm very glad for that. And I just think, and I think that another aspect of that too is realizing that because of my disabilities, because of Josh's disabilities, which is Papu, and so forth, we are going to do things differently than his side of the family is going to do things. We will be different grandparents to this child than his parents will. And I'm thinking that's how what a great thing. If you look at my two sets of grandmothers, my dad's side and my mother's side, they couldn't be any more different. They were so different. they were nothing alike. I got different things from my Nana than I did from my grandma. I mean, they were just so completely different. I got different things from both of them. I got my kind of my go-getterness, my keep moving. Don't have salsa before you go live. I had salsa. It's not. It's so I apologize. I put sour cream in the salsa. I think it's probably not a good idea. Right before you go live, just a little side note. But I think we have to realize that from my mother's side, my Nana was hardworking. She took care of my grandfather, my Papu. My other grandmother was different. And she was just, I don't know how to explain her. She was just very, very different. She had different way of handling certain situations. She was very creative. I think I get some of my creativity from her. She was a painter at one point. She just did things very differently. And so realizing that I'm going to be different than the paternal side of the family and as far as the mother, but that child's going to get different things. I'm not a gardener by any stretch of the means. I don't like to get these hands dirty. I don't like it, right? But his mother likes to garden, so excuse me, and can. So the other grandmother likes to can. I don't know how to can. I don't do that. I crochet. I'm crafty. I don't garden. So that child's going to get that from that. What a wonderful experience. So I think if you look at it too, that, thank you, Sandy. I think if you look at it too, that if you're both sides of the grandmothers, right, and the grandparents can give different things to the child. They're not going to be the same influence. They're going to have, it's going to make a much more rounded influence. So I think that that's a good way of looking at that. And I don't ever want the other grandmother to feel any less. This is my daughter. It's a little bit more special. I agree with that 100%. More special that this is my daughter having a baby. She's going to be a mom. There's something about that just sits in a very different way. But I still want to make sure that she feels just as included in this because, this is special for her too as well. This is my first. It's not her first. So she's already kind of gone down this path where I'm just kind of navigating down this path, then I'm going to be navigating it with you all too as well. And, everyone is adjusting. If you overstep your boundaries, you just may end up as the other grandparent. Don't compete. Stop worrying about everyone else and just do your thing. Don't try to fit into anyone else's mold. As your grandchild grows, so will their love and respect for you and how you fit in their life. I think another really good thing to consider with that too is I think that you have to 100% have, again, the communication open with the parents. I think it's essential to be sitting there and communicating with them, making sure they feel in charge 100%, because this is they're going to do the roles between it, and maybe even include the other side. Include the other side of the other. Maybe if you're going out and the grandmother's close, say, I'm taking so-and-so out to lunch. Do you want to come with us? Include that so that it becomes, a joint effort. Include that together, and make them feel welcome. And the same vice versa as well. The third commandment is parents shall not make rules, not the grandparents. Your child is now in a relationship with someone who grew up with a whole different set of rules than your child did. Now they have to work out the bugs and bring two lives together under their roof. There will probably be involving some compromise between them, and they don't need you trying to tell them how to do it. Absolutely not. I know now, and here's a very important thing. I know now that everything they do as parents, I'm not going to agree with. And I'm going to have to do. I had a friend of mine. Her name was Gail. She was Christina's godmother. And she used to say, now, Gail, close the mouth. And when I have to think about it, sometimes opening it, I have to think. That's what Gail used to do. I have to remember that. So I think that that's very true. You have to remember that you're not going to agree with everything they do, everything they allow their children to do. Hi, Dawn. All those kind of things. You have to realize that that's exactly what, and you have to kind of go with the flow, right? You have to say, okay. And I think if you're ahead of the game and realize, hey, I'm not going to agree with everything, then you're ahead of the game. You have to sit back and go, nope, I'm not going to agree with it. And I don't have to agree with it. It's theirs. If they want to give their child a bowl of ice cream and I'm just doing a silly kind of thing. If they want to give their child a bowl of ice cream every night before they go to bed, then let them do it. You may not agree with it. Doesn't matter. Their rules, their child, that's how they run. However it is. In addition, their children are going to have different little personalities. Different personalities from your children. We all know the little ones don't come with instruction books. And they are each tiny individuals of their own. They may need different kind of disciplines. Let the parents work it out. You're not the one to do it. So just sit back, enjoy the show as we recall. I'm reading this as I go. I'm going to throw in a caveat that you still have the right to make rules in your own house. Okay? Just open the dialogue and let your kids know the rules that are growing up still apply to your generation. If they have issues with it, talk it out over However, they need to understand that you do have rights in your own territory. I may not agree with everything my daughter does with my granddaughter, but I usually keep the opinions to myself. Exactly. And I think that's important. Like, if my grandchild comes in my home one day and starts flying cuss words around, they better watch out, because Yaya's not going to put up with it. And neither will Papu. It's not happening. I will lovingly go over and say, that's not allowed in this house. And not that my daughter and my son-in-law does, but I'm just trying to make a point here. If you don't allow that in your home, then no, I'm sorry, you're not allowed to do those. You're not allowed to speak those words in this house. I love you, but I want you to respect me. And that's okay to sit there and do. Another thing too, I think that it is important to understand too as well is when they come to your house, right? If that's the rule. But if you go over to their house and they do that, not your house, not your rules. In your house, when you come over to Grandpa and Grandma's house, we don't allow that. End of story. That's my house. This is my rules, and that's what I'm not going to allow. Now, I have two. Yep, I don't tell my daughters to do that, and my grandparents wouldn't either. I have two precious nieces, Lily and Aubrey. Lily is just a very different child when it was talking about different personalities. Very, very different child. If you yell at her in any way or raise your voice, she kind of cowers. Aubrey is a pistol. And I was watching them one day, and I'll never forget, I think it was a shoe, and she threw it, and it landed on my face. Now, I made a big ow, and it didn't hurt as much as I made the thing, but I wanted her to understand that hurt. And I was watching them. I was in charge, and I just looked at her and I said, I stopped everything. We were playing. We stopped everything. And I said, Aubrey, that's not okay. You are not allowed to ever throw anything at your Aunt Mary again, and you're not allowed to throw it at anybody else. That hurt, and that could really hurt somebody. And that's not okay. And I took her little hands in my hand, and I said, I love you, but you may not do that ever again. And you need to apologize to your Aunt Mary when you're ready. She just looked at me, her face went down. She goes, I'm really sorry. And she gave me a big hug. Jasmine is becoming opinionator, a little thing. I think it's hilarious. But I still disciplined her and told her no, but I did it in a loving way. If it was not my job to send her to her room, it was not my job to put her in timeout or do any of that. It was my job to lovingly correct it and go as far as I felt comfortable, and I felt that it was my role. She had done something that was not okay, that could have hurt somebody else. We weren't going to have that. And all right, well, thank you, Sandy Wandy, for coming on in. So it's just something to think about. If you're watching them, you have to navigate a little bit of the discipline, but to some degree. And I think that's, something to be talked about too with the parents as well. Number 4, thou shalt keep their mouth shut. Right? So again, bite your tongue, zip your lip, close your trap. I love the way this lady did this article. Whatever you call it, you don't say it. You'll know what I'm talking about. Criticizing, judgment, or everything that looks like either those needs to stay firmly inside your head and never slip out of your tongue. I dearly love and respect all of my children and in-law children, but I can tell you I have a sore tongue because it seems I have to keep my opinion about everything. Honestly, okay? It just would stir up bad feelings. And so you sometimes have to do it. Um, so again, this first one allows you to voice your feelings. Um, Not so bad, but now reverse statement. So how negative it sounds. See how that you can be seen trying to control their lives. First one allows you to voice your feelings but still show love and support, which we want to do to our children. It also shows you accepting their decision. So you can voice your opinion, but you have to ultimately respect their decision, whatever it may be. This gives your children the opportunity to validate your feelings at the same time, feeling like you're not judging them or trying to control their lives. So, for instance, what I was talking about at the very beginning of this, and I'm going to talk to my daughter tomorrow, and I'm going to say, if you see anything on Facebook that is either people giving high stats, giving away free clothing, getting clothing at a really, really good deal, baby clothing or furniture or whatever, please take your husband with you. Call your mom and dad. We'll go pick it up. Please do not go by yourself. And that goes whether you're pregnant or not. But, right, this absolutely, if she calls me up and says, I'm on my way to go pick up something on Facebook, I can't stop her. I voiced my opinion. She can either listen or not. I would hope she would listen, and I know my son-in-law would not allow her to go. And it's not like we live either places in a high crime area. It's just the smart thing to do. But I can't change their opinion. I cannot, if they've decided something, for instance, like when, what was it? Thanksgiving. I would have loved for them to stay through till Sunday so they could go to the other Christmas party, but they were going to leave on Friday. My daughter called me and said, we're leaving Friday. Don't try to change my mind. Da, da, da. And I was like, at one point I just said, Christina, can you let me talk for a second? You know what I mean? And I said, that's fine. I can't control the two of you. What am I supposed to do? Send you to the bedroom? I can't do that anymore. If you all just choose to leave Thursday night or early Friday morning, that's up to you. I can't do anything about it. What she did was it changed. She started laughing. So if you need to voice your opinion to them, go ahead and voice your opinion to them. But do it in a way that's loving, that shows that you're respecting whatever decision they have put forward. And there's some times where you just need to go, it's better off not said. You know, if I go into my daughter's house, I'm not there to see her house. I'm there to see her. And so it may not be as clean as I'd like to see it, or whatever it is, or this or that. I may not like this, but guess what? It's not my house. I have never yet come in her home and ever said, oh, I don't like this, or I don't like this, or no. I've never done it, and I never will. It's their home. I'm there as their guest. I'm coming into their house, and I am going to be absolutely not my place. I've heard horror stories about pregnant women being taken against their will. That's exactly the exact reason why. I want her to know. Absolutely. Can you please tell my mother that? Absolutely. You know, 100%. I want her to know that if she needs to go, if she finds something on Facebook and she needs to go pick it up, please take your husband. Please call us up. And I just put in the wrong command. Please take your husband, call your dad up, and mom up, and we'll go pick it up for you. I don't want you going by yourself. I can't stop her if she does, but I would really prefer she didn't. Just to be safe. Just to be safe. Okay? Commandment 4 is thou shalt accept that the changes thou hast no control over. The serenity prayer, right? We have no control over the changes that they put forward. Right? If they decide to do something, we can't sit there, and we have to accept it. So your children have the right to change their plans, their lifestyle, their parenting rules, and any aspects of their life. As the Serenity Prayer says, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. Hopefully by the time we're grandparents, we're wise enough to know. Do not take their changes as a personal attack on you. Most likely it has nothing to do with you. I never went alone to get things when I was pregnant. I always dragged my mom or sisters along. Absolutely. And I'm going to be telling that to my daughter lovingly. But again, she's a grown woman. My son and his family lived one summer while they were figuring it out their whole career. One day, my son announced that he wanted to pursue a career that would be inevitably take him out of the state. My heart was broken, and I realized that he was taking 3, at the time now 4, of my sweet grandchildren away from me. However, his decision was a better financial decision. I took a deep breath and figured it out, how to be a fabulous long-distance grandma. So if your children change their plans, do not go out to dinner with you at the last minute or cancel a vacation that they've had planned with you or decide to live in another state. Just accept it. Remember, it's their life, seeing their pattern here. Now, yes, absolutely 100%. I will say this. I don't think that they'll ever move out of the state of Ohio, which is wonderful to know. But they love it here. My son-in-law would like nothing more than to be in the woods and so forth. But I'd probably go wherever they were. And I would do that because I have a disability. My husband's disabled, and she's my only child. And so because of that, if they did move, maybe not initially, but eventually I probably would, to be closer to them because of the disabilities I go through, because of what my husband has to deal with and my mother. And so because of that, I probably would. I wouldn't do it initially, but maybe at one point I would. And we have all these wonderful things now. We have FaceTime and all this kind of stuff too as well. But I think it depends on the circumstance and situation. That I would have to say, only in caution to give our experience. Yeah, we grew 500 plus miles away from 3 to 4 grandparents. Mom lived with us for a couple years. I'm grateful for my parents for making the effort to make sure that we spent time with them. Absolutely. But I'm just trying to say, in our circumstance, if anything eventually happened to Mr. Blessed Crochet or my mother, I'm really in a position where I can't drive much because of the medication and because of my disability. And so I'm going to need more help down the road. And my daughter is my only child. I don't have 3 or 4 other children that I can lean on. So because of that, I probably would, underneath the circumstances, just so I could have some help. I don't want to be on top of them. One thing that we've even thought of in the near future, if Christina does have to work and they would like some help with childcare, that's up to them if they want to put this child in some kind of childcare. My daughter doesn't want to at this point. But if they did, if they wanted some help, we may move to near like closer to the Wayne County area. Still, that we were about 40 minutes away from them. Right now, we're about an hour and 10 minutes. So we're maybe about 30 minutes closer to them. And this way, if she needed to go to work, she could just call and we could say, okay, we'll meet you halfway. Yes, we have lots to say and experience to share. That's absolutely. We can meet her halfway, get the baby or the child, take it back to our house, or go to her house easily without such a drive, and then take care of the child. And the only reason why it would be easier to do it where we would be living is because they only have one restroom. It's upstairs. I can't do the stairs. My mom can't do the stairs. And so two people would have to be there so that we could leave and go to a convenience store and use the restroom. So because of that, it would be easier to do it in our home. But if we had to go, we could. But it would be a little closer if she needed assistance with childcare. And so that's something down the road where we may have to just move, where we're still about 40 minutes away, never going to show up. Well, not at this time. We have a lease through until October. Our lease is up in October, and we'll probably sign at least another 15-month lease, maybe. But it's something that if we need it, or the complex that we have, they have another one in the area that would be about 40 minutes away, and we could move there, and then that way be close enough where, again, if she needed to go to work, and we could say to her, meet us 20 minutes in, we'll take the child and we'll watch the child if she needed it. Our way, and I can't drive to her. She can only come here about once a month. I hate it. I know. And so, the only thing is if we were trying to assist them so that they didn't have the expense of childcare, she would know that the child was well taken care of. I'm sure the other grandmother would also be helping as well, so it wouldn't be every day. She doesn't work every day. It would be something to put out there, something to think about possibly down the road. But all those things are just up in the air. We're just going to go along with the flow. But I'm just saying, it also depends. When I was reading that goes back to the children too as well. They need to understand if they have parents that maybe they are the only child. They have a little bit more responsibility to just be there as they grow older. So are their parents growing older. And if their parents are dealing with a disability, they have to put that in check. We have a very small family, and until this happened, our family was shrinking on my mother's side, not growing. My husband has a huge family, but they're all in Indiana and Cincinnati. And even if we were in Cincinnati, I wouldn't be asking. They're overwhelmed there. My sister-in-law has 4 children. My mother-in-law is taking care of grandma, to ask her to help me and help so forth and so on. So it's something that, depending on the situation, like I said, this is a framework, okay? This is not one size fits all. It's not it. It's literally a framework. And my daughter grew up with being very close to her grandmother and so forth, and she treasures that. And so I know that she very much is looking forward to watching me enjoying that and getting this child to be able to know my mother and her great-grandmother. And she had a wonderful relationship with my grandmother. And so all of those memories and so forth are very special to her. They live with her fiance's parents. And as she has helped with the baby, although I admit I'm a little jealous that the other grandmother gets my more grandbaby time. I went from 1.5 hour away from my grandson, on a good day, to 24 hours. Oh my goodness. I don't even want to think of that. I don't think I'll ever have to think of it. But I've even said, I go to pack up nothing but a suitcase if that's what it took. Just to make sure that I wasn't on top, but I just would like to I'd like to be there. And again, you know, of course, dealing with disabilities, I have to think of things that are just in my head that are, you know, something to deal with. And unfortunately, it is what it is. If Josh and my mother are not here, then I'm going to need help going to the grocery store. And there are all Ubers and all those kind of things. I know that. But, again, if I had 2 or 3 other children, I'd have some help, and I don't have that. And so, and all those things are just still at the same time, you still have to kind of go with the flow. You still have to do whatever they're doing. You got to go with the flow. If they move and you want to pick up and move and they say it's okay, then you move. You may not like the state they picked, but that's your choice. But have that discussion with them, right? Have the communication with them, talk with them, and so forth. And I think open communication is so important. And I've had those discussions with my daughter and son-in-law, so they understand, and they do. And so sometimes in life you have to just say, okay, I'm going to go with the flow and see what happens. And sometimes in life, and it's not always easy, believe me. So rule number 6, thou shalt let the children set the grandparent boundaries. They need to set it for you. You're the grandparent. Everyone needs boundaries to keep healthy relationships. My dad used to tell me that good fences make good neighbors. All right, thank you, Dawn, for being here. I think Robert Foss said it first, but Dad's wisdom. For instance, you may not be welcomed just at the drop of the hat. You may not be welcome to just drop in whenever you need some. For instance, you may not be welcome to just drop in when they need some space and time to form as a family bond. Or maybe they ask that you keep the gifts under a certain dollar amount. Don't just shower them with all these gifts and so forth. Remember that even when the grandchildren are with you, they still may have boundaries that you need to observe. Things like the amount of screen time the children can have, their sugar intake, their bedtimes. You should adhere to these requests. However, there's room to spoil just a little bit. After all, you are the grandparents, and spoiling is what you do best, right? Yes and no. I agree with that. For instance, I've already said to my daughter, whatever television shows you want this little one to watch is what they'll watch. Again, we don't know what the gender is, and I don't know if I'll be able to release that. So if my daughter says, and my daughter's already said, Mom, anything that is something I grew up with is okay. I'm not really a fan of the shows coming out. Blue's Clues, Little Bear, Big Comfy Couch, Something in the Ferocious Beast, whatever. All those shows are fine. Okay? I've seen ones where they just it's time to load them with sugar and send them off to back to the parents. I don't like that. I don't want to do that. I think that that's personally, and anybody's entitled to feel what they want. I think that can be disrespectful to the parents. I want to do everything in my power to uplift their parents and their decision. If the grandchild comes to me and says, can I have this or can I watch this? What do your mom and dad say? Oh, they say it's fine. And then I'll be reaching out first. And if one of them says no, I'll say, did they know that ahead of time? Oh, yes. Well, I'm not going to allow them to lie to me either. I know it'll happen, but I don't want them to have mom and dad say no. Grandkid calls me and says, Yeah, yeah. Can you go buy this? My first response is going to be, what did your mom and dad say? Oh, they said it's fine. And then I'm going to ask them first, And if the answer is no, I love you, but you're not to lie to, yeah, yeah. And no, I'm not going to do it. So I want to do everything that I can to uplift them as parents. I want to uplift them and show them off in the best light. I want my grandchild to know your yaya loves you more than anything in this world. You're one of the people I love more than anything in this world. And no, you're not going to get everything you want. And I love you enough to say no. When we go out and I see something they want, the answer is not always going to be yes. I don't want to spoil them and have that kind of mentality. That's the way I want to do it. You can do it however you want. I know Josh says, well, I'm a papu, I'm going to do it. And he says, but I'm not going to do it. Because he says, I don't want that either. When I was raising my daughter, I lived with my parents for 7 years. And my mother said very, very specifically, she said, we can't spoil Christina. We live with her. Well, the person that spoiled her was my grandmother, which was Christina's great-great-grandmother. And I'll never forget saying to my mom and dad, I do not want her watching Dragon Tales. I didn't like the show. I still don't like it. I don't care for it. And I said to them, I don't want them watching Dragon Tales. Do not allow her to watch it. Well, my daughter told me, you didn't know this, but Nana let me watch it. I let my grandmother know I did not want her watching that show. But yet she still allowed my daughter to watch it. What does that say about her respecting my boundary that I had said I didn't want? Totally undermined it. Because my daughter knew when she went over to great grandma's, she got everything she wanted. If she wanted this, she got it. Except for doing something that was going to be harmful to her, but I still found it to somewhat undermine her. And my dad, I love him. My mother was a disciplinarian. I was a disciplinarian. My dad was fun grandpa. He was fun papu. And we used to have to hide Jungle Book because my daughter loved Jungle Book, right? And we would know when we come home, and he would allow her to watch it because she would be trying to be Mowgli, go all over the place. And we'd let her watch it with him every once in a while, and so forth, and just deal with it. But I just felt like, I thought, if I told her I don't want her watching that, she still did, I thought it was very, very disrespectful to my decision as a parent. And my mother lovingly came to me and said, Mary, do you want her watching this? Do you want her watching this? Yes, no, whatever, this or that. The final decisions always fell on me, and I appreciated that. So I don't want it for this child. I want them to know, I love you, your yaya loves you, and I'm going to be here, and I'm going to let you know that. I don't want to spoil the child, and so forth. We've already, by the way, there was a great deal at, at Sam's Club. We got a car seat. Because I don't know about you, but when my mom and dad were caring for her, we had a car seat in both cars, because trying to get them car seats in is a pain in the neck. And so we got a really good deal for like one that goes throughout the stages, but it was on a really good sale through Sam's Club. And we got one so we could put it in the car. And this way, when we take her home from church, and so forth, we can go ahead and for sure put, we can for sure put, the car seat in, and then we take Christina home from church and she has the baby. We just put her, put the baby in the car seat, or when we're going to, when we're going to a doctor's appointment that she needs to go to and she wants to come with, we've got a car seat. We're not having to take the car seat in and out, and so forth. And I would really suggest, if you're one that hasn't had to put a car seat in for a while, go to your local fire department or police department, whoever does that and is certified when you put the car seat in, and make sure you've got the car seat in correctly, because they've certainly come a long way. And I remember even when we had my daughter, I went and had it checked to make sure we had it in right, and we had it in wrong. So the best instructions still, right? They still need improvement. So again, number 7 is of course, thou shall not, command number 7 is thou shalt always set boundaries of thy own. So let least you think that I have forgotten. Grandparents need to have their own boundaries too, like I was talking about. If the grandchild came in and started using language I didn't agree with, not in Yaya's house, not in Papu's house, it's not happening, or they come in and are disrespectful, not in my house. And so you're allowed to set the boundaries. These commandments would be complete without some of your own rules. You still have your own life to think about. Remember to care for your own self and well-being. Let's face it, you were not as young as you used to be. Here's another really good point. I said to my son-in-law that I would never come over to his house unannounced or uninvited. And in the time since they got married, since 2012, we have never once done that. I did make it very clear that the only time we would do that is if something happened to someone in the family, someone passed away, or something happened to Mocha. And when Patty passed away, we did decide to set up, we decided to go over there and actually tell her in person. And that was the only time. I have yet to go over their house unannounced and uninvited, and I will not do that. It's something I promised him, and I will keep that promise. Unless we're invited over, we don't go over. And I think that that's a really, really important thing. Now, when I was growing up as a grandchild, I always could come in the house, partly because my grandmother was taking care of my grandfather, and so she was busy taking care of him. We could just always walk in the house. My mom had a key. I had a key when I became a teenager, and so forth. Just come on in. When I got my own car, I had a key, and I could just come on in the house. And we've said to my daughter, hi Alfonso, we've said to my daughter, my son-in-law, just come on in. Doors, just open door. And I will do the same thing for my grandchildren, but I respect them enough not to just pop in whenever I want to, because I think that can be disrespectful. And I want my grandchildren to see me respecting their parents. When I used to come over to my sister-in-law's house in Cincinnati, I would knock on the door. Thank you very much, Brooke, for coming in. I knock on the door, even if we were invited over for a party, because I wanted my nieces and nephews to see this is how you enter in somebody's house. You come in, you knock on the door, and you are invited in. Even if you're invited, you just don't walk on in. And I want my grandchildren to see exactly that kind of, I think, respect. And so, again, these are things I'm going to do. I hope some of these ideas give you some, things as well. But, again, this is not one size fits all. Set your boundaries for babysitting and childcare without pay, going places with them, supporting activities and other expectations. Some of us still have jobs, friends, other children in the house, spouses that also need our attention. The balance is the name of the game. Remember, it's an important factor of it all. What you do for one, especially the first, you will expect it to do for the rest. So be careful in setting up a precedent. So that's something to consider. Number 8, thou shalt keep up with the times and stay open to new ideas. One of the things that they have asked us not to do at this point is they don't want to share anything on social media as far as baby photos, names, and all that kind of stuff. Doesn't matter whether I agree with it or not. It's their parents, their rules, and they need to set forth those. If that's what they choose to do, then that's what they choose to do. And so, it's not my rodeo. So I have to respect that. So the rapidly changing landscape in raising kids, everything from parenting skills, technology for families are moving at the speed of 2-year-old with ADHD. I like that. Stay as current as you can, but up to speed. Things like car seat requirements, seatbelt rules for kids, good and bad technology, what the current TV shows are all about, other relevance, things apply to the age of your grandchildren. This is easily said than done. You have to stay on your toes because it changes rapidly. You also need to be open to new ideas and ways of doing things. If the current rules say lay the baby on your back to sleep, but long ago you put the babies on their stomach to sleep, just go with a new way. Most likely your child will be very comfortable with the old ideas, especially if the current information says this is safer than how we used to do it. Ask the questions, don't argue. That's the best advice. And again, you got to stay up to the new technology. And that's kind of things I've learned a little bit. I'm not trying to overwhelm my daughter. I think that's really important to understand. When you get pregnant for the very first time, all these things are happening to you, and this baby's growing, and all the doctor's appointments can be very overwhelming. And so I have a little kind of file on my phone that's just full of reels that I've seen about babies. And I'm not sending them all to my daughter. I'm just putting them there. And then that way, if that topic comes up, and it's usually from, I found one lady that's a high risk postpartum delivery nurse. And so on Facebook, and I really like her, and so I put that in there. That way I just have a little storage information of stuff, and this way if that topic's brought up or this topic's brought up, I can just simply send that to her, and that way I'm not overloading her all at once. So it's really, really important not to do that. Thou shalt not give unsolicited advice. Okay, please don't give unsolicited advice to your children. Again, they are testing out the waters just like you do, and like you, like you, they need to make the mistakes and learn from those experiences. However, if they do ask for your advice, tread lightly with love, and most of all, do not criticize them. And please do not bring up parenting trauma experiences. This is not helpful. Be a good listener and help lead them to discover their own solutions if possible. Best way to guide someone to a good outcome without looking like a know-it-all. To be honest, just give them encouragement, reassure them things that will work out if they just keep working on it. I remember hearing a wonderful story, and this woman said, my mother-in-law came in, and she said, I got up, I struggled, I just had my baby, and I struggled to get out of the chair. And she said, I was holding my baby in my arms, struggling to get out of the chair. And she said, all of a sudden, she said, I got up, and she said, I walked over ready to hand this baby to my mother-in-law. And my mother-in-law took me by the arm, and she said, I had given her the baby, took me by the arm, brought me back to the chair, gave me back my baby, and said, you are to sit there and just enjoy this precious time with your baby. One thing that I've said to my daughter is, especially your first one, this is your first. Absorb everything that you possibly can. If you want to sit there looking at your baby's face for an hour and not doing anything, realize that when the second and third one comes along, if you do get that far, you are not going to have the same experience. You need to absorb everything because there's no other child tugging at at you, needing your attention. You just have this one to enjoy. And she said, she went on, she said, she cleaned my house. She said she had a dinner on in the stove for me and ready to go. And she said she did that not necessarily every day, but every couple of, every other day or so forth. Maybe it was every day. She said she would come in, she'd wash laundry, she would have dinner ready to go, she'd deep clean something, she would do something. And she said she allowed me to sit in my chair and recover from having a baby. Mind you, to those that don't know, it can take you 3 months after having a little one to recover from having to feel like you're getting back to yourself after delivering the child. She said, I just was able to sit there and love this child and rest and recover, and my mother-in-law gave me such an amazing gift. And she said very clearly, I want everybody to listen to this other part of it. She said, you know what? She said, I was so blessed that she did that. And I said to her, why did you do that? She said, because it was done for me. And she said, I was hoping that one day, God willing, that if by chance I had children and they had children and I had the opportunity to do this, they would allow me to do that. And she said, we don't often lift up and praise the ability for wonderful things and good generational traditions, held up like this. And what a special one. And we may not be able to go there every day and be able to do that. But even if we could go over there and just, clean something or get some laundry done for her or put, some kind of dinner in the stove and so forth, and let her rest and let her have it, take a break a little bit. We would like to be able to do that. But again, if she allows us to do that, if she needs to come over to our house because of her husband's work schedule and come over to our home and be here for a while, then that's exactly what'll happen. Whatever she needs is what we're going to do and facilitate. But we're going to have that open communication. You hear me saying communication a lot. Open communication with her and her husband. Grandparents 10, thou shalt teach and inspire. I loved that. That is one of your jobs as grandparents, is to teach and inspire, right? That's what we're to be doing, is to be teaching and it's the wrong command. Teaching and inspiring, okay? So you as a grandparent are to be teaching and inspiring. So you are in a position as grandparents to affect generations. Okay, there is more wisdom in your life experience to draw on than any generation currently living. Just think you are the keeper of all the wisdom for your family. Don't forget that you're still a parent and your children need you as much as your grandchildren need you. Teach and nurture your children. As you did when they were young. Be encouraging, especially when there are things going badly. Celebrate the small victories. Tell them that they notice things that they are doing well, both children and your grandchildren. Be the best grandparent that you can ever be. So what's the point of keeping these 10 commandments for grandparents? It's to help you realize that even if you go through the day in the sun, it is to help you realize that even through your day in the sun has passed, you never get to sit back and bask in the glow of a lovely sunset. Be the best you can be by supporting your children and your grandchildren. Do not be meddlesome or bossy. Be encouraging and loving. In other words, just help your children be the best that they can without photobombing their life. Remember that it's not about what it can be, Remember, it's not about you, but it can be wonderful reflection on how well you are doing in your job now. And so, which of these commandments are you guilty of breaking? I haven't broke any yet. But I think that it's another thing to do. If you have upset the apple cart a little bit, maybe you have crossed a boundary or so forth with your son or your daughter-in-law, or your daughter and your son-in-law, I think it's really important that your grandchildren see that maybe you have to go back to their parents and apologize, right? And we all have these wonderful things called phones. They're wonderful. And I plan on getting lots of pictures with my grandbaby, Lil Bean. Okay? But I also don't want to make sure that I'm spending so much time getting every photo possible and not sitting with that precious child on my lap reading a book. I may not read the greatest, but I'll do my best, right? Or spending time or telling stories about our family, or just holding them or allowing them to fall asleep on my shoulder for a little bit. One of the sweetest memories I have of some of my nieces and nephews is they fell asleep on my shoulder and just lay there and sleep. And I was the happiest. Don't bother me for a while. My one Atticus, I'd always seem to put him to sleep somehow, and he would just lay there and just lay on my shoulder, and I just was like, I was happy-go-lucky for a while. And so I think that we sometimes can get very, very bogged down in our phones, in our phones and so forth, and we forget that we're there with them, that we can make memories that will impact their entire life. We're there to encourage them and love on them, and also lift up not only their parents but also their other grandparents. This is very different for me because when Christina was growing up, again, I didn't have to really necessarily think about the other set of grandparents because that wasn't really a factor. This time I do, and I want to do everything I can to lift up those grandparents as well and invite them to family gatherings. I want them to feel just as special and in part of these children's lives and so forth. We all go to the same church. So, I don't want, if the children come in and give us all a hug and they want to sit with the other grandmother, I don't want to sit there going, goodness gracious, start going a downward spiral. Let them enjoy that moment and that time. Eventually, the child will come over and say, I want to sit with this grandma. So like I was saying before, I had two sets of grandmothers, but my grandmothers could not have been any more different. They were so different that it was, I very well noted. I can say that so much. So, again, I just think that you need to set boundaries for yourself. You need to communicate with your children so you can go down this road in a way that's healthy for yourself, healthy for them, healthy for your grandchild. I don't want to be a grandma that just spoils everything they get, everything that I don't want to do that. I want to be there because I just want to do everything I can to uplift and give them wisdom. And I think that it also sets a precedent for how they are grandparents. And so, that's just what I want to do. I want to love them. I want to be there. I don't want to overcrowd. I want them to know how much they're loved and how much they're cared for. I want to say no at times. I want to follow whatever rules my daughter and son-in-law have put forward, because these are their children, not mine. I've done my work. I'm just to sit back. One of the things I'm totally enjoying is watching my daughter just, going through this time and what she's feeling and so forth. I'm just enjoying it. I loved sitting back when we were in Indiana and she was taking announcement photos. I just sat back going, I'm loving to watch this time and this moment in time for her. And I think that we have to remember that as grandparents. So I thought this was a good first one. We are going to do some content for grandparents on this channel now that this girl over here is a yaya. I did put a short out. I probably will hold off till tomorrow. I'll put out the recap. We'll get that back up and rolling. We do have a doctor's appointment with Christina, so the recap will probably come out at like 8 o'clock tomorrow night, but I'll get the recap up tomorrow, and then we'll get back to Mondays again. I have put out the channel shoutouts on a pretty regular basis. Again, I got those back up and running. I'm working on the Advent to get those edited, and I'm also working on the cookie recipe too as well. But I just thought that this was a good first start. I'm going to talk to Echo. I know that I was told over the years that grandparents are meant to spoil their grandchildren and not to go by what the parents want. Well, you know what? And again, that the rules of the 10 Commandments, okay, are what I'm going to kind of try to stick with. Am I going to break one? Probably. But again, this is not one size fits all. Everybody's going to be a different kind of grandparent. Like I said, my grandparents, my grandma, two grandmothers were extremely different. I don't think that it's helpful to every time they come over to grandma's house, they get everything they want. And I don't think it's helpful to them personally that if mom and dad say this, that they do the opposite. Like I said, I had that experience and I did not like it. So again, your experiences in your life are going to set the precedent for how you're going to go forward. I didn't like that my grandmother knew I did not want my daughter watching Dragon Tales, but yet she allowed her to watch Dragon Tales. Right? And every time my daughter left my grandmother's house, she cried. And my grandmother's like, well, I don't know why. She never cries when we're together. I said, because she wants to do this or this. She just did whatever she wanted to do. She was great grandma. She spoiled her. But I still felt as if I don't want her watching Dragon Tales, but you allowed her to watch Dragon Tales. You did the opposite of what I asked you not to do. And I don't think that that's helpful both to the parents and both to the child. I think it is extremely confusing to the child. And I think it's disrespectful to the parents. You're not honoring their wishes. We as grandparents, I believe, and again, this is the way I'm running my show. But you run your grandparent show however you want. I don't think that it's helpful. I think we need to do everything we can, because raising kids is tough. Let's as grandparents not make it tougher by making their job harder. And when they know, hey, we can go over to grandma's and grandpa's house and they'll let us watch this, they'll let us eat this, they'll let us do this because we get away with it over at grandma's, or we don't get away with it at home. What is that saying? Now, I will say this. My grandmother on my father's side was, of course, an undiagnosed bipolar. So she was mentally ill. And she was not diagnosed. Excuse me. So unfortunately, it was difficult. It was hard for her to at times to keep things in level. And one in the middle of the night, I'll never forget, I was over at her house sleeping. My parents had come up from Daytona Beach. They were staying at the hotel, and I stayed over at her house for the night. And she said to me, she goes, Mary, wake up. It's like 2 o'clock in the morning. Mary, wake up. Elvis is on. And it was, hi, Moby. Elvis is on. And, come on in, come over and come out and we'll watch that. And we'll sit and have black licorice at 2 o'clock in the morning. I had that experience with my aunts and my grandparents. My aunts and grandparents would let me do things like to do, and my mom wouldn't allow me to do it. And that's the way they run their show, right? Church without my mom's permission, or there was times my aunt refuses to return me back home. And there could have been other reasons behind that, Alfonso, too. But, I just remember sitting on the couch at 2 o'clock in the morning watching Elvis's Love Me Tender and eating black licorice with my grandma. And I will say this, there was a reason why. I mean, I look back at that memory and thinking my mom and dad would have never allowed me to do that. And I think of that thinking that's a really special memory. Because my grandmother was dealing with a mental illness and dealing with bipolar, it's almost like if you go toward the end of the season to pick strawberries, you may find some good, but you're also going to find some not so good fruit, some non-pickable fruit. And I have a lot of memories of my grandmother with fruit I can't pick. But that's a fruit I can pick. And when I think of that, I smile. Because there was so many other things. There was, there was a time I spilled tea all over her table and she just looked at me and called me every name in the book and I went running out of her house crying. I mean, you just never knew who you were going to get. And there were so many difficult things. I remember another time when my grandmother came down from Daytona Beach. My dad went and picked her up, came down. And I don't think she was there for more than a half an hour. Now, she knew I had allergies. Now, I can tolerate dogs in a way I couldn't tolerate dogs when I was younger. And she came in the house. She wasn't there more than half an hour. And she said, okay, Chuck, let's take Mary. We're going to the local animal shelter and we're getting her a dog. And my dad was not happy. And he said, Mom, I need to go talk to you outside. And he took his mother outside and he sat and he talked with her. And she came back in the house. She goes, I'm really sorry, we won't be able to get a dog. But I was all excited. I'm like, yeah, I can go get a dog. But I couldn't have a dog because my allergies were so bad. Now, we didn't know about toy poodles and poodles at the time. And the poodle experience that we had, my aunt's poodle was named Bertay. Meanest poodle I've ever seen. It was fine as long as it was on my aunt and my uncle's lap. But if it wasn't anyplace else, it was not a nice dog. So there was a lot of times where it was just not really nice at all. And so it was, we didn't have the greatest experience with poodles. But, I just remember thinking to myself, and later on my aunt or my grandmother won a dog from bingo and sent it to me or gave it to me. It was this dog that went on my desk. But I just feel as if, that was really hard because I was like, okay, I'm going to get a dog. And my grandmother knew I couldn't have one, but she shouldn't have said it in front of me. And it was difficult as a grandmother. I 100% respect my daughter wants her child treated. Absolutely. And that's what I want to do. As a Yaya, which is grandmother in Greek, coming up in June, I want to do everything, and I've said from Jump Street, this is your child. This is the way you want to do it. These are your boundaries. You just lead us. This is not my rodeo. This is yours. That's why I've said on this channel, we're going to call it Little Peanut. Not Little Peanut, Little Bean. That's what she would like to be referred to for the foreseeable future. I don't know if I can release the gender or not. She doesn't want the exact due date released. So understand, when I did the registry, they required a due date. She said you can release it. It's June of 26. So when I did the registry, I did June 1st, which is not the accurate due date, but they wouldn't allow me to hide the due date. Don't release the exact due date, Mom. We're not sure if we don't want the child on the YouTube channel. We don't want it on social media. That may all change down the road, but for right now, that's what they have said, and that's what we're going to go by. And I said, we'll call this child Bean all the way till it's 18 years old if we need to. And actually, in the registry, I put a little shirt that says Little Bean. I thought I can't resist. And the only reason I know they're going to do a registry, but the only reason I did one for our channel is if anybody asks, do they have a registry? I do not want, first of all, their address to be shown, and I do not want them to be overwhelmed. This way, if something is sent and you do send something, I will be putting in the description. I am working on it. If you do send something, put your channel name and your channel handle and your name in there so that we know who it's coming from. And we can give it to them as it is. And I'm trying to put stuff in there that's like 6 to 9 months, down the road. Clothes, they're going to be gender neutral for right now. I don't know if I'm going to be able to release the gender. Nobody's obligated to do it, but if anybody does ask, at least I've got something. Now, like I said before, diapers are not fun, but they're necessary. So through Amazon and through that registry, there is a diaper fund. So I know that they can always use that. We can send them diapers and so forth, and that will always be something that will, again, assist and help them. And so I just believe in my heart that I'm here to help, do nothing else but to support the way that my daughter and my son-in-law choose to raise this child. If I do not agree with everything that they're doing, not my place. It's not my rodeo. It's not my child. It's my grandbaby. And I know that they are with two parents that love them tremendously and want nothing but the best. But I also realize that my daughter has come from a different culture than my son-in-law. And so those two cultures are coming together. So of course this is going to be different. And you have to sit there and say, what do I want? Do I want a relationship? Or do they want to keep me at arm's length because I can't respect the boundaries that they've put forward? And have those discussions early, and please have the discussions when it's something that's gonna, it may get a little heated. Do not do it in front of the grandchild. When Christina was growing up, and of course my ex-husband wasn't in the picture, I did not sit there criticizing him in front of her, and I didn't really serve me until she was in her 20s, and she was able to say to him when they were able to finally talk, my mom never once said anything bad. I told the truth. I never name called him. I never said anything bad. I never criticized him. I said, he loves you. He just can't be in your life right now. I was truthful, but I was not disrespectful. If I needed to vent, I did it usually in the car, and I'd give it all it's worth, and every name in the book would come out. She was never anywhere near that. Okay? I've, of course, since forgiven him and moved on and all that kind of stuff, but very early on, I was angry. So if you're going to have a discussion that may get a little heated, do not do it in front of your grandchildren. Have the discussion outside of their ears. They don't need to hear it. But you also can do it in a loving manner that is going to love and respect what the parents have put forward. And you as a grandparent also have boundaries. Like I was saying before, it was one of them about, let the parent set the boundaries for you. Well, you have boundaries too as well. If one of your boundaries is you come in my house, you're not to use language I don't agree with, that's one of the boundaries you could put forward. Whatever it is. We don't listen to that music. Whatever the boundaries is, we don't watch that in this house. For instance, my daughter says, Mom, you can let them watch Dragon Tales. Okay, well, if I'm over at their house and my daughter is allowing them to watch Dragon Tales, it's not a show I let my daughter watch. I didn't know my grandmother was allowing her to watch it. But as far as I'm concerned, I don't have any say. If they come over here and they want to watch it, I may let them watch one episode, and then I may say, hey, let's watch something else your mom used to watch. I'm not going to criticize, I never let your mom watch that show. And I cannot believe that she's allowing you to watch that show. No way. Ain't coming out of my mouth. Now, my daughter may say, my mother never allowed me to watch that show. But I'm going to allow you to watch it. I'm going to let my daughter do the narrative. I just didn't like all the magic they did in that show, and I didn't want her watching it. Not my child, not my rodeo. I'm the grandma. I'm not going to spoil this child rotten. I don't want to do that. I don't want them to think every time they come to grandma's house, I'm going to get whatever I want. No. I'm going to come to grandma's house and Yaya's house and Papu's house and Nana's house. I'm going to their house to spend time with them and get loves and hugs and kisses and all of those good things. And I'm going to have fun just hanging out with them. And here's just another little thing too. Y'all can do what you want with it. If the parents say, please do not kiss the newborns, don't do it. I've already said to my daughter, I have no intention of doing that for a little bit, allowing this little one to grow the immune system. If they say don't do it, don't do it. If they ask for you to have clean hands whenever you're going to hold the baby, you know what I mean? Have clean hands. If they say, please don't kiss the baby, don't kiss the baby. You may not like it too much, but it's their job. And sometimes by the time they get to the second kid, it seems to be they're not so protective. I don't know, but anyway. Again, that's a boundary they're asking you, and that's a really early boundary that they're asking you to put forward. And if you disrespect that boundary right off the bat, then that's not fair to them. So we have to listen. We have to pay attention to the boundaries. And if you have to go back to them and say, you know what, I messed up. I'm really sorry. I just didn't realize. And guess what? What a lesson for your grandchildren to see. Grandma and Grandpa aren't perfect either. None of us are, not one bit. My aunt would often let me play vinyl records in the house. My mom would often get mad. Am I saying that I'm not going to ever give them anything? Of course I will. I've already done that. I've already gotten some things. But still, at the same time, I don't want to spoil them to the point where it's just like everything. Anytime they go over, there's always something, right? I want to show them love. I want to show them, that I'm respecting their parents. I want to show them that, you know what, it's not always about the things that you can get, but the time you can spend with family, the time you can spend with Yaya, the times maybe underneath the blanket when we're reading a book or watching a movie. Those are precious times. They don't cost anything, right? I've said all my nieces and nephews, by the way, know who Elvis is. My son-in-law's not too much of an Elvis fan. They're going to know who he is. They don't have to like him or listen to his music, but they're going to know him. And they're going to know how much I really like my Elvis music. So, you all, again, this is just a template. And I think that this is very, very important when you have become or expecting to be a grandparent or whatever it is, grandma or grandpa. Start with your own little thing like this and your own little commandments. It doesn't have to be this. And I've added some personal ones in that I'm not going to share here. But come up with your own little things that you're going to do and your own little boundaries for you to have, just as a little reminder, because it's really hard when you're kind of in the throes of it and you're holding this to kind of remember, wait a minute, I need to remember this. I need to remember that I need to go back to doing this and I need to be holding to this and what my role is as a grandparent. Start writing your story. One of the things I'd like to start doing is doing some shorts that says questions. Now some of them I probably will do in a way that maybe I'll make them private or unlisted so that I could send them to my grandchild down the road. That are too personal to put on here, but that they could be there for that time and put a file together of questions that I didn't want to share. But next year I want to start a question. It may not be every day, but just like, what's your favorite color and why? Well, my favorite color is purple. Well, why is it purple? Go to my mother and ask that same question. Go to Mr. Blester Crochet and ask some questions and put together a little thing just of no more than just shorts, just no more than 2 or 3 minutes of little things that I think would, be interesting for the grandchild to know about. And I think, again, like this channel started with, it becomes a legacy channel for us to do. And I think that even if you're not somebody that's a YouTuber, think about maybe doing something like that. It's not very hard to pick up your phone, don't do any fancy editing, and just record a little something, be 2 or 3 minutes. And on your channel, make it unlisted, right? And do a little thing that says, where did I meet your grandpa with? And you can just do a little short story about that, and then just load it up to your channel, which everybody has a channel on YouTube. Load it up, make it unlisted, and do a playlist, right? That's just for all of those questions that you would like your future grandchildren to know. It doesn't have to be public. But then you've got a video diary and a place to put it. So one of these days down the road, you can send those little things to that grandchild, and they then have a history of certain kind of questions that maybe they were wondering about it. There's going to be one day, I hope my mother's here for another 50 years, but she's almost going to be 80 soon. And so I'd like to start having her answer some questions and maybe putting some of them up, or putting not all of them up, but maybe when the child's 20 and my mother's no longer here, they can go back and hear her say what my favorite color is, what this is and that is. And then there's a history, so forth of things, and maybe even eventually be able to compile them in some kind of video or something like that. And that's just amazing to hear it in their own voice and in their own thing. And so something to think about, and we're going to talk about that. I think that's another topic to talk about, is how you can use your YouTube channel, even if you don't want to make things public, as turning into a legacy for your grandchildren and wonderful stories to be able to be told and so forth. And we'll certainly do that. I'm going to do some Echo. I'll put her channel here too. She is a grandmother, and we're going to do some grandma content because she is a grandma and I'm going to be one. So I thought it would be a great little thing. So we're going to do some, and I've got to fix whatever I did before I came in here. I have no idea what I did. Oh, well, that fixed it. I hit studio mode and I didn't like it. I was looking at double of me. It's better enough that there's just one of me. we don't need two of Mary. I'm enough as it is. So that being said, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go get a shower and come back and do some voiceovers. I'm trying to get devotions done. I've been working on the blanket. Hi, Sophia. Thank you very, very much. Hold on a second, guys, and I'll show you. If I can bring it over here. Oh. So you all can see. All right. So y'all can see. Y'all know we're working on a new blanket. This is Indigo's blanket. So I'll show you this. I've got the cookie recipe coming out. I got the frost guards I'm working on. I got to put the cookie recipe out. I've got to voice over that. I've got to do the frost guards. I've got the devotions I'm trying to get caught up with. The Bible verse should come out tonight. I think I got that one listed. But anyway, here's how far I've come. I've been doing this every morning, and I know I should work on devotions, and I know I should do this and that, but I've really found a great comfort in working on this blanket and just watching a Christmas movie. So, Indigo, thank you. You're helping me get through the holidays, which are a little tougher this year. No, with what went on with Patty. But anyway, here's our blanket, our first pattern for Blessed to Crochet, and so I'm on. There we go. So that's the first panel. You see the flowers, and now this is going to be, that white panel is going to be the panel of hearts, and then this is the pink panel. So this is our first pattern, and I'm loving it. Now I kind of did this by accident. Yes, there's no should. You're absolutely right. So I did this by pure accident. I don't know if you can see it, and I hope it looks good. I kind of like it. The middle part right here, okay, where the white is, the bottom and the top were supposed to be a double row of white. And I misstepped on that, and I didn't realize, so I was about halfway up this blanket. But I really kind of like the fact that it's just a single. This right here, this section right here, was supposed to be, below it was supposed to be another double row of white. But it almost looks like an inlay. I don't know if you can see it, but it almost looks like a little bit of an inlay of the white. And I really, really kind of like not having the double on the top and the bottom of that. I thought about not having the double on the side, on this white side over here. But I really kind of like the double, because the double white on the side, because it keeps the double going up all the way, and it keeps it somewhat symmetrical. I can't say it. Kind of in line, to have the double going up on the white, going up the two. But I really kind of, I don't know what anybody thinks, but I really kind of like that, just the single for the white strip on the top and the bottom, because it just makes it look like a little bit of an inlay, and it makes the purple and pink pop out a little bit more. So it was a happy mistake. But we're going to have more content about becoming a grandma, because I'm going down this journey right along with everybody else. And I don't know how many other people are first-time grandparents. If you're a first-time grandparent, put it in the chat. If you're kind of sitting there going, how do I navigate this? I don't want to be too overwhelming to them. I don't want to be too this. I'm trying to navigate this road in a way that's not too overbearing. It's tough, And then, of course, when you got all the hormones of your daughter that's pregnant, you know what I mean? And it's like, I had to say to her at one point, I said, I'm not a mind reader. If you don't let me know this is overwhelming, I don't. This is my first time. You have to remember, this is your first time, carrying a little one. This is my first time being a grandma. So you have to give me the grace of letting me know it's too overwhelming, and I'll respect it. And I'm not going to be upset. I'm not going to take it in a way that's going to be upsetting or so forth. I'm just going to let it whoosh, go right over the head and move forward. And for the most part, well, congratulations, Moby. For the most part, I've done that. I haven't taken it here because I know if she's irritated and she's kind of snipping at me, it's because she may be dealing with some morning sickness, so forth, with she has not had a ton of, which I am so grateful. She's had other things, but she doesn't have a ton of it. And again, just be lifting her up in prayer if you're somebody that does pray or so forth. She has told people on this channel that she is and on My Other's Keeper that she is a diabetic. So she is put into the risk of a little higher risk of pregnancy. She's actually has a couple doctor's appointments concerning that this week. But the baby is growing very healthy and well and sound and all those kind of things. I am working on this as well. And again, like I said, we will be putting a baby registry up just in case anybody wishes. I won this yarn a while back ago. And this yarn, it's just beautiful yarn. And this is one of my newest favorite C2C patterns to do. Do you not see the bobble stitches on that? Isn't that pretty? This is a C2C pattern, but I love the bobble stitches on there. So even though this has pink and purple in it and blue, I'm doing this for her baby shower, which will probably be sometime in April or May. And I'm planning to do this blanket. And I know that no matter which one it is, right, still the fact that it has the purple and the blue in it, I mean, it's just beautiful. I figured out with whatever baby she has, either one, then that'll be kind of like a gender neutral blanket, and she can use it for future babies, and then give it to whatever child she wants to give it to pass on to their children. And then, of course, with every grandchild, I'll just go ahead and make them their own blanket. So they'll have their own blanket, but I can't do that until I find out what it's going to be and, the due date, or not the due date, when it's born and all that kind of stuff, because I'll put the date they were born and the baby's name and all that kind of stuff. I won't be able to share that with you all, but maybe if I do a pattern or so forth from it, I'll be able to do it and then be able to put it so you all could add whatever name or so forth. I can maybe do that, but then they'll get a blanket to their own self. But this one's just good one for this one and any future one she has, because I figured it kind of it's got white in it, it's got the purple, and it's got the blue, so it's got all the colors. It's covered all the colors. Beautiful, beautiful yarn. So, absolutely, and that's what I tend to do. But again, it's navigating it. One of the episodes we're going to do, probably not this week, maybe after Christmas, is we'll talk about how to take your YouTube channel and make it so it becomes a legacy channel for your grandchildren. And if you don't want to have everything up for the public to see, you're not interested in monetizing your channel, which we're still sticking at 210. I'd love to see it to get even more than that. And we'll be on the road to Christina tomorrow, so maybe I can do a little bit of filming, road trip. We'll see how well so forth, because guys, it was in the below zeros today. Right now it's 15 degrees, but it feels like 9. And the snow is just keeps sticking. I don't know what temperature it was this morning, but it was cold. It has been cold, cold, cold. They actually canceled. If y'all wonder why I didn't go live yesterday, it was because I wasn't up to it, but they canceled church. We were in a level 2 snow emergency. We weren't going anywhere Sunday morning. They plowed the streets, no joke, on Saturday night about, okay, thank you. Um, they shoveled our streets about 6 times from the time it started snowing about 7 o'clock at night till about 2 o'clock in the morning. I mean, they were just as fast as it was coming in, they were shoveling it. We got a good chunk, and should be interesting. And Christina doesn't handle anything well. She doesn't handle heights well. And this doctor's appointment's on the 5th floor. I've got a actually, my jacket that you see me wearing, got, no joke. I bought it in December of 97, and I just kept it this whole entire time. Because my mom said, "Why? You live in Florida. You don't need it." Something told me, and I have kept it, and it has held up so well. It's just such a good jacket. And the one you saw me wearing when I went out to try to attempt a crochet in the snow. But anyway, it is so funny. But I've had that jacket for years. I've had it since before. Well, I didn't realize I was actually pregnant with Christina when I got it, but I've had it. It's about as old as Christina is. But anyway, it's got some padding to it. So I'm probably going to wear it all the way up on the 5th floor, because she is going to literally take my arm. And I've had bruises on my arm because she will actually she'll put her, she'll hold on to me so tight. I've had bruises. And so I'm not looking forward to this tomorrow. Not looking through the drive either, but anyway, be lifting us all up. And I had to call Amazon today. I ordered 2 things for her Christmas. One was a little necklace for her, and one was just a baby book, which she knows she wanted. Not Pacific one, but one that I found, that I really liked. And the back of the book looked like it had stuff on it on one of the pages, and the necklace was all tarnished. It's not a very expensive necklace, but it's supposed to be stainless steel. And I called them up. I said, I don't like any of these, and these are Christmas gifts. So they're sending me new ones. We'll see what the other ones come as, because I was like, I don't like this. And then I said to Josh, she goes, well, I think it'll just clean itself off. And then I looked at the picture, and I'm like, something happened with this one, because the feet were supposed to be like a different color, and they were entirely, I didn't even look right. So I did order something else that was supposed to be here, but it's not here yet. So we'll see what FedEx does with it tomorrow. Kept telling me it was here. Christina's calendar's on the way. We have most of our Christmas gifts. Let's see where it says. Still tells me it's going to be here at the end of the day. Let's check. Oh, it's finally moving. No, it's not. Oh, they're actually working to get a new delivery date. I was sitting there going, well, you mean it hasn't left yet? Well, we'll see. We will see. They're going to get us a new delivery date. I don't think it's coming today. Oh, I know. I can't wait. I can't wait. So, we're going to call it Little Bean. And like I said, when it comes to the registry, the only reason I'm doing one for this channel is because I don't want their address to get out there. I'm sure they'll hide their address, but I want to take a chance. I also don't want to overwhelm them. And I'm also, if anybody feels so led to go over there, I will put it in the description. It will be on our link tree. I'm trying to put clothes that are, 6 to 9 months, 18 to 24, things that they're going to need later that I can keep here and pull out for them later. And I've also, it also has a diaper fund. I know those aren't fancy dancy gifts, but they're certainly necessary Right? And they're going to go through a lot of them. Jared's already said, this stuff is expensive. So we can, if the diaper fund through Amazon, they can get wipes and diapers and we can send it to them. It could go right to their house. So at least something, and it would be something. But I will put that up if anybody feels so led. No obligation, but it's there if you all ever choose, because I know I may get a few people that may ask me that they'd like to do something, and I'd like to be able to have that ready. And then that way, if I see something that's on ours that's duplicated on theirs, I'll take it off ours right away. So anyway, Little Bean, I love you. This Yaya loves you bunches. I can't wait to meet you. And no, I'm not going to spoil you rotten. Sorry. I love you. I can give you lots of love. That I can spoil you with till the end of time. And I love you, and your the parents are diapers, white clothing, detergent, and food. So we can put we can put detergent in the baby registry, which I was going to do. I guess the diaper fund, they can buy diapers, and I can buy baby wipes for them in the Amazon baby registry. So when you do to the diaper, if you contribute to the diaper fund, if you want to, no obligation, then it goes to me being able to purchase diapers and wipes and so forth for them. I put a little shirt in that says Little Bean, because that's what we're calling it. I'm going to put a shirt that says, your Yaya and Papu love you. I put one in there. I put a sailor something or other, like a sailor outfit in there, because my dad was a sailor. It was like a sailor onesie, and it says, Captain Cutie or something like that. I put a swaddler in there. I put some toys in there. I still need to grow it some more, but I know that we can put some detergent in there. All those things can be useful and helpful for them. I'm trying to keep it like below 40 and below. I'm trying to put a lot of things that are just like $10 or $15 in there. And the community wants to, they can, and we can at least have that for them if they wish, without, again, I don't want to overwhelm them. And if I can release the gender, then I can start putting gender neutral thing or more gender stuff. But until I can do that, then it just may be gender neutral. And I found gender neutral stuff. I put baby wipes, baby burp cloths and stuff like that in there too. Towels and that kind of stuff. Toys and books, and we can put stuff like that in there. So things that they may not obviously think about getting or need or putting on their stuff. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. I'm going to go. I've got to get the bed changed. Josh has been a little under the weather, and he had a shower today. So I want to get the new sheets on so that they're all clean and everything for him. And then may need my mom's help to do that. I'm a little sore tonight. And then I'm going to try to get this cookie recipe done. I'm trying to get I've gotten up to day 6 for the Advent. I've gotten to E, and I have up to day 8. But I'm really, really working this week. When is Christmas? I really want to get on by Saturday. I want to get by Saturday to get all of the devotions uploaded, so we're current for the rest. And I do apologize, but I really appreciate everybody's understanding, and hopefully after my announcement on Saturday, everybody understood why this Yaya has been a little distracted. There was a very, very good reason why I just wasn't quite with it. But I love you all. We'll see you tomorrow. Like I said, it may be on the way to Christina's. We'll let you see all the snow and so forth. So we may do it on the way to her. But anyway, I'm going to get off here. Love you all. Be the best grandparents that you can be. This is such an amazing time in your life to enjoy these grandchildren, and also to enjoy your children being parents. Watching this, and listen, you can spoil these kids rotten, but you can spoil them rotten. Oh, I'm breathing. You can spoil them rotten, but you can spoil them with lots and lots of love. And times where it's not necessarily anything you're giving them, but your gift of time is free. Think of stuff you can do that's fun, that involves just sitting with them, reading with them, watching a movie, and so forth. Think about things that you can do. Go take a walk together. Get on the phone and talk with them for a little bit. Treasure this time, because especially your first. Not that you're not going to treasure the rest of it. And I've said one thing to my daughter, what can I do to help you? Don't forget that this is your child, but your child is carrying this child. Don't forget that they're part of this equation, and you need to make sure that they're not left out, that they feel like you don't care about them, you just care about the grandbaby on the way. Make sure you find out, what can I do to make your life easier, and love on them, because they need it, especially during this time. So enjoy this time. We're going to enjoy this journey as we go forward. What a wonderful time to share with our community. Christina wanted us to share a little bit because she was so grateful for what you did to allow my aunt to come up here so that we could give her this one last hug back in August. We are so grateful for that. And so she wanted me to share something. She certainly loves the community. And I think Sophia said it very well. Breathe. Just sit back and just watch it. I'm just gonna love watching my daughter's little tummy or little bump grow and see that. I'm just gonna love it, and it's part of the enjoyment of this whole process, and you can do this. But set your own guidelines up for yourself, and we're gonna take a moment. It's never expected. It is appreciated. Shut that off. We just have a time where we thank our members. We do have the 99-cent membership, which is the thank you very much membership. We also have the $2.99, where everything, where videos come out first, and shorts, if I can do it, as long as it doesn't have music to it that I can't. We try to release everything there first, and then we send it out to you all. So we thank everybody. It's never expected, but it also reminds you that we want to thank you for just being a part of this wonderful and amazing community. And we also want to thank you for all that you do, and remind you to be that blessed disco ball. So let's dance for a second.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much.
I never get tired of looking at all this. And that's another thing I got to actually do before I go to bed. I have one thing I need to do before I do that. I want to voice over something. I want you to remind you guys to just make sure that you share somebody you care this year. Love y'all. See you on the next one. And remember to be proud of being yourself. Everyone else is taken. Keep crocheting that connection. No crochet hook is required. We have you covered. Thank you so much for having us covered. Love y'all. And Little Bean, love you bunches. Bye-bye, everybody.
So proud